I really hope that Krusty's still not bitter that he lost in ratings to Channel Ocho. Here's your look at the brand new Jakks Pacific. This Simpsons Bumblebee Man. Here we have, folks, a man dressed as a bumblebee. And I'm sure in a moment, Bumblebee Man will be telling Ethan, the director, that it's the same old tired gag. But I haven't grown at all tired with what we've been getting from Jakks Pacific. They've been knocking out of the park when it comes to the Simpsons figures. And when you look at a character like Bumblebee Man and you realize how early into this series that we've gotten him, that's pretty good. That's pretty good indeed. Now, of course, when it comes to Bumblebee Man, he is part of this same wave of the Carl and the Barney Gumble that we've already had a look at. The only figure that we haven't yet looked at from this 4-figure wave is a reuse of the Bart Simpson. Now, this Bart, though that's part of this wave, still while having, though, the skateboard, and I feel like that probably could have been an opportunity to give him something different. I mean, come on, does he need to have a skateboard every single time? He is, though, going to have the Malibu Stacy treatment. Instead of having the regular red outfit shirt, he's going to have a blue one instead. We're going to be looking at that one a little bit later on. Back, though, to Bumblebee Man. Whereabouts do we want to measure this guy? To his antenna or to his head? Technically, the head is where the figure will stop. The antenna is just essentially a thing on top of his head. Maybe what we'll do is we'll go to the top of his head. While I'm doing this as well, I'd also like to thank Popeye the Toy Man, a Facebook seller on Facebook, of course, and I actually ordered this or bought this directly from him. Bumblebee Man apparently is going for some stupid money online. And have to luckily pay as stupid of that money from Popeye the Toy Man, so thank him for that. As for Bumblebee Man's height, you're looking at the figure standing 4¼ inches in height. That's, of course, not including the antenna. That translates, though, to a figure that's 10¼ centimeters tall. Speaking of Bart Simpson, even though it isn't blue shirt Bart, here's what the figure looks like with Bart Simpson we've gotten before. Careful not to be around Krusty the Clown in case he steals your shtick. Here's what the figure looks like with him. And while, of course, we're bringing in a couple of characters known for their TV roles, here's also what he looks like with both Itchy and Scratchy. Now, Itchy and Scratchy were released in the 2.5-inch scale. I can't imagine anybody that didn't pick up these figures specifically to be displayed with a larger scale. Here's also what he looks like. Speaking of characters that maybe would be watching his series on TV if they're not watching Krusty the Clown, here's both Milhouse and Lisa Simpson. Of course, if you're going to have a TV personality, you're going to need a TV camera. The figure does come included with a camera, although sad to say, unfortunately, there's no posability at all. It does, though, look like it's probably two pieces put together. I mean, if you wanted to, I don't know if you would really want to try to detach this. Even if you were to detach this, what would you then really do with it? I think working on a tripod works a little bit better. The tripod, surprisingly, for how little of a footprint it actually has, seems to balance pretty good. It is also a little bit painted, so they've got itself the red light here on the front. Hey, you're on camera right now. Nah, I'm just kidding. Or am I? So again, like the camera looks okay. It does, again, look like it's probably detachable, but I don't want to be the guy that says, yeah, it is detachable. You pull this off, you break it in the process, and then you go ahead and blame me. Don't blame me. I didn't tell you. Well, I guess I did technically tell you to try to pull it. Don't do it. Don't do it, whatever you do. So that's the only accessory really that comes included with Bumblebee Man. I guess a little to that, obviously, the figure does also come included with his wings. The wings are something that were attached on the back of the figure's body. You could remove them, really, if you want to. They just basically plug in place on the back. I mean, if you're only really looking at the figure from the front and you're not checking out the back, you'd be, unbeknownst to you, you'd notice that there's holes on the back of his body. These wings themselves are all done in a translucent kind of bluish plastic. And all they basically just do is plug in place like this. Now, when you are putting them in, you can kind of see for yourself. See how this side's flat and this side's a little bit more round. So you kind of want to keep the flat parts together. That way you can have the wings closer together. So you just plug in the one and you plug in, the other. Now, the wings will only go so far. Obviously, that's as far down as they go, unless you really want to try to overlap them. But that's only just going to pop out one of the wings. Also, too, if you really try to bring the wings out, that's about as far as you can really go. Anything after that, it kind of looks like somebody's glasses. Anything after that basically will just force the other wing out. So there's only so much that you can really do with them. But at least they move. I mean, that's still something. Now, looking at Bumblebee Man, one thing you may notice right away is the coloring of his shirt isn't really quite jiving with the coloring of his lower shorts. That is right. If you go back and really watch any of the things that Bumblebee Man has appeared in, technically, really, his shirt is a lighter yellow, and the darker colors, kind of that darker, warmer yellow is always in his trunks and always in his shoes. Bumblebee Man is actually a caricature of Al Chapulin, Colorado, which was the red grasshopper, a character created and portrayed by Mexican television comedian Roberto Gomez Bolaños. So he is sort of kind of taken a cue from that, and that's the creation of Bumblebee Man. I really like the look of Bumblebee Man. I'm so, again, surprised the fact that we actually got ourselves a character like this so early into this line. Of course, he does have the antennas on the top. Those, unlike his wings, maybe they are something that were attached separately. I guess it would probably make the most sense instead of molding an entire head like this with the antennas. Maybe the antennas are something separable. Again, I'm not gonna push in the direction of trying to remove those. It's only just going to end up breaking the figure. But overall, like, he does look pretty good because, of course, the top of his outfit probably has been painted over top. I mean, maybe they probably would have been smart enough to paint the black parts and not paint the yellow. Because if you painted yellow over black plastic, you'd have to, my friends, put several coats of paint on that because you'd see the black bleeding through. No, it does actually look like they probably would have painted the black stripes on the yellow plastic. But again, like, the colors being off like this is really technically correct. Unfortunately, though, I did notice getting Bumblebee Man out of the packaging, not only were his legs kind of really loose, but also his knees were really loose as well. Unfortunately, though, when it comes to Jakks-specific stuff, I'm not really here to just kind of say, like, bash Jakks, but, like, certain kinds of figures that they've released, like, I've noticed with the Simpsons especially, loose thighs and loose knees seem to come with the territory. Yeah, you can still rotate. The figure does have some decent levels of posability, and he does also have pegals on the bottoms of his feet. We have yet to really see any display stands included with these figures, but again, if you want to use a display stand from another figure company, those would just technically plug onto the bottoms of his footwear. For the figure's articulation, Bumblebee Man pretty much has the same as all the other figures, where there unfortunately is some limitations. Just with the size of his head like this, you can't do a full rotation. I mean, when you get to about here, and you get to about here, there's resistance telling you to go no further. If you want to go any further, don't blame me. I didn't tell you to do that. This time I actually didn't tell you to do that. Upper torso is going to be also on a ball joint. Nice to say at least that it's not actually loose. I was actually wondering, oh, maybe it isn't. I thought maybe that they may have used the top of the torso for Barney. Obviously, he would have had different legs. Maybe they did actually use the lower half of his body, this piece right here, for Barney Gumble, because it looks like he has similar mass. Of course, when it comes to his arms come out comfortably at 90 degrees, or that T pose. The wings do obviously get in the way when it comes to kind of rotating the arms all the way around. They're going to hit here. They're going to hit here. You really have to kind of move the wings out of the way for him to do a full rotation. Figure does have a swivel in his bicep. Single hinge for the elbow. The hands, of course, rotate all the way around. The waist swivels. Again, there's also a ball joint, so technically you could move it up and down as well. Legs split out, but they only split that far. I mean, oh yeah, I don't know if you really be able to move his legs any further like that anyways in the cartoon. Of course, being that he also has these socketed sections, allow the legs to move forward. So if you want to have Bumblebee Man sitting down, or if he's hunched over, having a lobster pinched onto the back of his body, if he thinks this shtick is a little old, obviously just replace it with a big giant mouse trap. Oh! For his legs, again, like the legs split out, you can have them in a seated position. There is technically also a swivel right here, just really above, or I should say just below the short part of the shorts, or where the shorts attach to his leg. Those rotate all the way around. The figure does also have a knee bend. You want to just kind of keep control, keep track of where everything is. The lower boot does also rotate all the way around. There is an ankle pivot up and down. There's a bit of an ankle rocker there as well. Short of really just having the looseness that seems to already to have developed so early into open this guy out of the packaging. I mean, I've had Bumblebee Man maybe out of the package for, I don't really want, not that I've clocked myself at all. I'm just kind of looking at the time right now. Oh, I'm going to have to change that time. It's probably been maybe like half hour that I've had this guy out and been playing around with him. He does also, by the way, have a tail. There doesn't seem to be any posability possessed in his tail. But yeah, the only thing that's unfortunately a bit of a bummer with some of these figures that I've been getting lately here from Jakks is that they are loose getting them out of the packaging. Krusty the Clown, actually, surprisingly, speaking of rivals on TV, well, unfortunately, like he didn't really have, I guess he's got enough of a hinge on the back of his leg. He hasn't had any looseness at all. And you would think that a character having such large clown shoes like this would have a lot looser legs. But again, like obviously if it comes to displaying these guys, I'm going to be putting them on the shelves together. And, again, like bringing back in Itchy, well, Itchy and Scratchy. There's Itchy, there's Scratchy. Yeah. The only thing, again, like somebody had asked me before, which line do you like more? What we've got from Super 7, Jakks Pacific, or Playmates. Playmates always really kind of benefit also from having dioramas. If this was, like, for example, a Playmates set, it would also have the interaction with the audio clips, which didn't always work. I mean, we've done a couple of the reviews of them here on this channel. You know that those voice chips never really worked properly. But at least to the credit of Playmates, they always had really cool diorama sets, like little, places, studios, for example, that you could have put your characters with. We don't get stuff like that yet with Jakks Pacific. They seem to really have kind of split the line in that 2.5 inch are the ones that are kind of getting things like dioramas that you can have the character sitting in. The 5-inch scale, the ones that we've really kind of primarily looked at more here in this channel, haven't gotten stuff like that at all. It's nice and good to get things like cameras, but I really want to see stuff, other things get released that you can display these characters with. Kind of see a longevity where people are picking up not only the figures, but then they can pick up things that have the figures displayed in. Because I knew I butchered the poor guy's name, Bumblebee Man said in this review already was a caricature of El Chapulín, Colorado, which translated to the Red Grasshopper. He was a character created and portrayed by Mexican television comedian Roberto Gomez Bolaños. Now I didn't butcher it, or maybe some would still say that I did. Love the look of Bumblebee Man, though. I mean, again, while unfortunately having loose in the knees, that seems to be something that with a lot of these Jakks-specific figures, they seem to have loose knees so quickly out of getting them out of the packaging. It's one thing, though, I really think that Jakks needs to really seriously work on. Not that it causes stability issues with these figures, but you would really like to think, though, when you get a Simpsons figure fresh out of the box and you've opened it for the first time, you smell that? That's the smell of new plastic. But once you get these guys out of the packaging, you like to think that the joints would be all in these figures all really tight. You really don't want to be disappointed right away getting them out and noticing that Bumblebee Man and some of the other Simpsons figures already have loosies in the knees. Again, outside of that, this one is going to be a little harder to find of a figure. From what I've heard, though, Bumblebee Man, I think, is maybe a 1 per case, which may justify then why he's so much more expensive when trying to find him online. I tried the route of going on eBay. That was a bad no-no. What I did, though, instead was I went back to one of my go-to, seems to be, for sellers on Facebook selling group, Popeye the Toy Man. Sure enough, he had just stocked not only Carl, but also Bumblebee Man. As you already know by the fact I've done the review of Carl, I picked him up, and at the same time, I picked up Bumblebee Man. So big thank you to Popeye the Toy Man for that. What do you guys, though, think of Bumblebee Man? Let me know down below in the comment section. Are you also as surprised as I am that we got this figure so early into this line that we have? I mean, like, what's Bumblebee Man? He's like wave 6? Maybe he's a little later than wave 6. This wave, by the way, we're almost completed. The only one I've still yet to pick up is Blue Shirt Bart. When I do eventually pick that one up, we are going to be having a look at that Bart. I know, again, like, it's a double dip. I mean, how many, is it a double dip? Is it a triple dip? I think it's probably now like a triple dip of Bart. Some would say, again, like the Malibu Stacy treatment for Bart. But technically, like, Bart has had different colored shirts in the series and through, like, promotional marketing for The Simpsons. He's had, like, orange shirts, red shirts. I think he's also had, at one point, a green shirt and a blue shirt. So, I mean, like, it makes the most sense that they also would have given us more releases of Bart. It's not a bad thing. I mean, again, if you're getting unique characters like a Bumblebee Man, I don't mind that it comes at the price of getting yet another Bart to fill in that space. But again, if you guys did enjoy this video, yeah, do it a solid. Throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, everybody, please. And make sure, of course, you're turning on the bell notification so you're going to get those reminders every single time a new video drops. And, of course, making sure you're coming back peepers peeled, I hope, because there's going to be no new videos coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.